Hello and welcome everyone to VMUG UserCon 2020. This is the Digital Workspace Journey and Beyond session. You can submit your questions during the course of this presentation. We'll be happy to answer those for you. Here is the index of what I'm going to go over here. Take it through a journey through the digital workspace and what you should consider through the architecture and expanding your environment. We're going to go over the Workspace ONE components. We'll go about how to evaluate the product, how to plan for an actual deployment. We'll wrap up with some expansion options, and we'll go over some helpful tools that'll help you along that way. My name is Aaron Malinowski, Practice Manager of Cloud Integration here at Mobius Partners. I have been with the organization around 2 years, and the organization has been around for 20 years. We have offices in the Dallas area, San Antonio, and Houston area. We typically cover the region of Mottola, but we have customers outside of that, so please feel free to reach out. My contact information is on this slide here. Feel free to pause it, capture the contact info, and reach out anytime you like. So Mobius has been aligned with VMware for quite some time, and it makes us a versatile company for all things VMware. Along with that, we also work in the area of DevOps, observability, cloud, data center, security and analytics, managed services. Let's jump right in. What is the digital workspace? Well, that's physical, virtual, and mobile devices. In the near future, the distinction between these three types of devices are going to gradually disappear, and it's going to make all endpoints just be a device. We need a unified way to manage all of these things. What are the features and benefits of digital workspace, right? Well, with the current COVID situation, most organizations have a remote workforce, and they're allowing employees to work from home due to safety issues or even government mandates. You need to ask yourself, how are we going to manage these guest devices? How are we protecting user data? How are we responding to users remotely connecting today? How do we protect ourselves both now and in the future with our remote workforce? How can we create a digital advantage? VMware has a great solution for that, and that's Workspace ONE. VMware's vision for Workspace ONE is any application on any device. And this product can be a SaaS solution or an on-prem solution. We'll get into that. First component here is VMware UEM. So VMware UEM, which is endpoint management, unified endpoint management, is previously AirWatch. It's the function that secures and updates remote devices. Second component is Horizon. It's your VDI platform for guests and allowing you to deliver applications to any device. Third one here is Workspace ONE Access. This is your adaptive multi-factor authentication and single sign-on component. Your productivity apps, these are the applications that are locked down for specific use cases and designed to secure your mobile devices. We'll touch on each of these components as we go through it. We'll start with UEM here. What does UEM do? Well, like I said, it manages all devices. You're able to manage all of your Windows 10 operating systems. You can manage your Apple and Android devices as well. That allows you to patch those devices. So most organizations, they struggle with trying to patch Android and Apple devices. And this product can truly do that, and it very much helps. It also manages the life cycle of your devices. It includes onboarding, configurations, apps, security, and support. It also supports all use cases. So your corporate devices, BYO, your kiosks, and your shared devices in your environment. Good use case for UEM is locking down a lost device and being able to wipe the company data from that device. Some partners have a neat way to include UEM features in their products. An example of that is Dell has auto enrollment. You can actually purchase a device from Dell and order it to where your Windows 10 device will register itself to your UEM server, and it really makes it a seamless connection to UEM so that you don't have to have admin intervention. The next component is Horizon View. This is your VDI platform. The latest version is 8. That will be coming out this month. And this is where your users have their guest operating systems. It's the core component for them to have a full desktop experience. And this is also where your applications become virtualized and delivered to your users. It's a full function desktop, or it can be very dumbed down to a very simplistic handheld. A neat use case for this is Topgolf is one of our customers, and all of the kiosks at those facilities are using Horizon View, and they're also using GPUs on the back end. Horizon can be bundled with NSX and vSAN, and you can also leverage Carbon Black for your security side as well. Workspace ONE Access. The components of this include Enterprise Single Sign-On. It eliminates all of those different logins that your users are going to have to remember and very much simplifies that login. Intelligent Hub is your one-stop shop for users so they can select their applications. It's a huge catalog. You can simply search for the ones that you're approved to install, or you can have subscriptions delivered to those users based on their profile. Application provisioning allows new applications to be placed into that app catalog by administrators. You can have it even auto-provision to users based on their pools and groups, or they can self-subscribe to those applications as they're entered into the catalog. Analytics allows you to monitor devices and application usage, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. So these are the productivity apps. I'll kind of quickly go through those. Workspace ONE is a web browser, secure web browser for mobile devices, instant access to the internet, and doesn't require a VPN connection. Workspace ONE Boxer is an email client that truly gives you the feel of the same application from Android, Apple, and you're not having to deal with different email products. That's very useful in that aspect. Workspace ONE Mobile Flows. This is the ability for users to complete tasks across backend systems like Concur and Salesforce, more without leaving the Boxer app. Workspace ONE Content is the ability to quickly share files with others. And Workspace ONE Global Catalog is pretty much that. It's a global catalog of users, so you can search through who's in the organization. Workspace ONE Send is a way for VMware Workspace ONE to connect with Microsoft 365 and Intune as well. All right, and Workspace ONE, this is the different flavors of ice cream as far as the versioning from Workspace ONE. Standard is mobile only, and advanced would be your next jump up, and that includes mobile, but it also includes PC lifecycle management. Now, Enterprise has both of those flavors, as well as the intelligence built into it. So intelligence is the application analytics piece of the puzzle. For example, you have users that have applications such as Adobe, and those licenses have a cost to them. And you don't always know who is using those, but you know who needs them, right? This tool allows you to identify who is actually using them so that you can reduce those costs and be more precise on purchasing Adobe, for instance. So all of these licenses are a monthly subscription or they're perpetual. So you have those two options. Let's talk about evaluation. There are 3 ways to do it. You can use VMware Test Drive, you can do a POC or a pilot, and you have VMware Hands-On Labs. I'll touch on these. So this is VMware Test Drive. This is where VMware gave partners or VMware technical teams the ability to give users a live test, okay? There are 2 different types that you can do. You can do a ready-to-use experience, which everything is canned, ready to go. You can quickly get in and use the product and just get the feel for it and see how you like it. The sandbox experience allows you to really dig in and connect your own devices and really get into that actual deployment and managing those devices and wiping those devices, which you should always use a different device and not your personal phone whenever you're testing things, right? So make sure you consider that. But you can have up to 100 devices on VMware Test Drive, and you get that access for 30 to 60 days. And they're fully configured with those pre-installed applications, and even Office is in there. So that's a great way to quickly experience Workspace ONE. Most of you are familiar with VMware Hands-On Labs. This is a great place to learn how it's deployed, tinker with the admin console. These evaluations are free. They're up and running in your browser in minutes. There's no installation required at all. They don't connect to your devices, but you can really learn about how the product's installed and what you're going to need to do that. Third way is proof of concept or a pilot. This is obviously a little more intrusive, but you're going to get all of your answers and truly test it to make sure it works in your environment. So you need to ask yourself, where can we host this POC, right? Determine the resources and the schedules that need to be applied to this POC. When you test with users, make sure you don't just test with IT. You need to test with users outside of your immediate group. IT is going to be a little bit easier on these applications when you're testing them. You need real user experience. And when you're getting that real user experience, you need to have a survey that the users go through. You need to clearly define what's important to your organization and make sure you're documenting that. It's very important to document those procedures. Review the results with your stakeholders. Those are the people that are going to help you make this product happen. So you need to make sure you're aligning with them. Clearly define your goals and make sure you're meeting all of those during your POC. Sometimes you only get one shot at those things, so make sure you do that. All right, so planning for architecture. You start thinking about questions such as, what are we focusing on achieving with these products? Is there a combination of products that would achieve our goals? Should we bundle some of those today? How many users and how many devices? This is important information when going through this architecture planning. What type of users are they? Those are important. Are they task workers? Are they knowledge workers? If you don't know that, that's where we can dig into that on another topic here in a second. Also consider things such as, Horizon will need a vCenter, right? Well, you don't want to use the vCenter that you're using for management or production on your server side. They need to be separate entities as far as vCenter goes. So make sure you think about that. You don't want to use the same vCenter due to versioning. You don't want to get locked in on a specific version that you need on your server side versus your Horizon side. So make sure you consider that. Another major consideration is your guest operating system licensing. Get with your Microsoft contact, whoever's planning that in your organization, make sure you get with them, identify, do I have the correct licenses today? Do I need to reevaluate my EA? You need to really go through that and make sure you're good there. On the application virtualization side, a lot of organizations think they know all the applications, and hopefully they do. And if you don't know off the top of your head, most of the time in your DR strategy, you'll have a tier of applications to help you really identify what's important to the business. If you don't have that, that's where you need to assess it. You can go through and individually ask users, which is going to be very time consuming, or you can use an assessment tool. You can go through a partner like us, and we have a great assessment tool that we use from Lakeside. And those guys do a great job in identifying what applications all of your users are operating with, and they help you create those user profiles I talked about as far as task workers and knowledge workers, and do they need GPUs? You really need to think about assessing it before just jumping into it so there's no surprises. Let's talk about expansion. So when you expand, you can stick with your typical hyperconverged or your 3-tier infrastructure on premise. Make sure you think about your storage. You got to think about your networking. Do I have enough ports? You need to think about your compute side of the house. Do I have servers available? Are they supported? Do I need to purchase new? The other option is you have the cloud side too. So you can expand, or you can do a vanilla implementation on the cloud side as well. So it's not just an expansion tool. Azure and AWS are both capable of running Horizon. So that is a great option. Most organizations already have connections to both of these cloud providers. And here is the links for the TCO calculators. So when you're starting to do budgeting and everything, and if you're going to use AWS or Azure, these are great links. As long as you know the amount of users and the type of profiles you're going to use on those desktops, you're going to be able to get some estimates that are real world. So we're going to go to the helpful tools here. So this is a VMware topology tool. Some of you guys have seen it, some of you guys haven't. You can pause it and check out that link. It's a great tool that you can put in which technology from VMware you're using, and it's going to give you a great breakdown on basically a nice visual of your ports and what the networking is going to look like. And you can do it pretty quickly, and you can move those little items around. So again, check out that tool. It's very helpful. Another helpful tool on the Horizon side is VMware OS optimization tool. It's great for preparing Windows profiles. It does 10, 8, and 7. It also does Windows Server 2019 all the way down to 2012. The cool thing about this tool is these templates can be shared throughout the community. And if you've had to set up a template for a gold image before, or a VDI image, it can be very difficult. There's a lot of things to tweak, and this can really give you a jump start on that. Well, thank you all for attending. Again, my name is Aaron Malinowski. Feel free to reach out with questions, and hopefully we've answered everything during the session.